all, welcome to another podcast session of Dyslexia with Success. It's myself, Petronila Ngeka, and today I have a special guest with me on the show. Her name is Sesha, and Sesha, welcome to our podcast, all the way from California, USA. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, thank you. I am so excited and honored to be here with you today on the Dyslexia with Success podcast.
Wow. Sasha, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? I know you've done a lot of work on diversity and equality. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So I am an immigrant to the US from Cameroon.
Wow.
Excited to be here in the UK right now.
Yeah.
I have a background in engineering.
Wow.
And manufacturing. I've worked in manufacturing and tech, and now I do diversity, inclusion, equity consulting and training and cross-cultural awareness. So I help organizations create inclusive environments that would make sure that people thrive no matter their circumstances and no matter their different abilities.
Fantastic. I'm so excited in this conversation because I also learned that you share some insights on like United Nations Human Rights Summits and also featured on outlets like Forbes magazine and Shems magazine and other radio stations in the United States.
Yes, absolutely. Every now and then journalists do reach out to me for my insights for radio, TV or writing publications.
Fantastic. I'm so delighted to have you on this show because we're going to be talking about how we can make our communities and workplace and society more friendly to neurodivergent community or personnel, children and adults. So tell me a little bit about some of the things that you've done for Forbes magazine.
Well, I've been a contributor on Forbes magazine. I don't work for Forbes. I've contributed material that has been used on several of their articles around issues of racial equity and diversity and inclusion.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the things you've experienced in your workplace around neurotypicals and neurodivergent, how the community, both the diverse, whether Western or ethnic minority people, the challenges they find in workplace because of their neurodivergence?
So I'm assuming your audience understands the neurodivergence and neurotypicals?
Well, neurotypicals are people who are not dyslexic and they don't have ADHD or any form of learning disability, and neurodivergence are people who have autism, ADHD or some form of learning difficulties that limits them. So thank you very much for helping me highlight this area so that people understand when we talk about it, because I myself as a dyslexic adult, I always make the mistake between using neurotypical when I need to say neurodivergent. So thank you for that clarification. I'm sure this is going to be very delightful for those who will be watching and listening to this podcast. So what are some of the challenges you've encountered in your workplace?
So one of the biggest challenges in the workplace is first of all around awareness. Many people are not even aware that there's neurotypicals and neurodivergent people. And neurodivergent people, like you mentioned, there's autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, and so on.
Dyscalculia.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not that they're stupid or dumb. It's that they have different ways of thinking. A neurologist, I myself am neurodivergent. So our neurologists just function differently, right? And so, but we don't have the awareness that there's these differences, and we're trying to fit into a culture that's built for neurotypical people, with neurotypical standards, and that becomes very challenging both for the neurodivergent people and also for the people supervising them and working with them. So expecting someone, say, with some autism to have the same level of social skills that other neurotypicals might have, that's very challenging. And another challenge, so for me, for example, I have 3 neurodivergence markers. I have narcolepsy, I have ADHD, I have dyslexia. And so if you don't know what narcolepsy is, it causes, you excessive daytime sleepiness. It makes you uncontrollable for sleep. And before I knew that I had that, you can imagine at work I will be sleeping at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And that could really get one in trouble.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas if the expectations are just a little bit, I have just a little bit of accommodations. I'm allowed to take a 5-minute nap here and there. You know, it makes a huge difference.
Wow.
So just not even being aware
Yes.
that I had that going on,
Yeah.
and we keep attributing it to
Laziness.
or
Yeah.
lack of willpower.
Yeah.
That just makes it worse, and we actually never get to solutions.
Yeah.
It makes me end up being a zombie 75% of the time, as opposed to having a 5-minute nap and being fully awake for 5 hours.
Wow.
Right. So
what are the things some people have accused you of being a neurodivergent lady or adult from Cameroon, to say the least?
well, that's interesting. Because first of all, in Cameroon and in many African cultures, we don't seem to recognize these things or appreciate them. And so if I tell someone, many times when I tell someone I have ADHD, you know, and so this is how it affects me, so I want to do this thing a little bit differently, they might say, oh, I have selective attention.
Yeah.
Which that's part of what ADHD is, right? They're like, oh, if you really want it, then you focus on it. So I get accused of not really wanting something and not being serious about something. I also get accused of not loving God enough, for example. If
You go to church and then you feel sleepy, or
I
your
feel
attention.
sleepy, right? Oh, I'm running a little late there, you know, I'm accused of not loving God enough. I've been called all kinds of names.
You're so powerful, and I'm so amazed, and I think this is going to motivate other people, young people as well as adults, who actually are struggling. In our ethnic minority community such as Cameroon, there are a lot of adults who probably are neurodivergent and they don't know, they have the challenges that you and I have, but they don't talk about it. And that's why we have created this platform, so that we can be honest and transparent to our audience and help shape our communities better. Because you have a very good career, you're helping workplaces create opportunities for people with limited skills, or they think differently and work differently. So you're doing an amazing job regardless of the challenges that you yourself face. So thank you very much for sharing with us.